Hey folks, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. My name's Danae and this is the Acadian Garden and Apothecary, where we talk about all of the edible and medicinal plants growing right in your own backyard. It's been way too long since I've recorded a video and I'm so sorry for that. I know I kind of just dropped off the face of the earth for a little bit, but I am back, and as we get closer to spring, I'm definitely going to be doing more videos. We'll be getting outside again, but today we're inside my apothecary and we are going to make an anti-inflammatory tea blend. So we're going to keep this casual today. This is not a super sciencey video like I do for my more in-depth videos where I look at particular plants. Though if you're interested in seeing videos where we look at the literature, both the scientific literature and some of the traditional uses of these different medicinal plants, I have a whole library of videos. Feel free to check those out. I believe for everything but our marshmallow root, the Althea officinalis, I believe I have in-depth videos on each of these plants, but we will talk about their medicinal uses in this video as well, and just some general advice for tea making. Now, before we make this video, I do want to say I am an herbalist. I am not a medical professional of any kind, and I am not providing medical advice. However, I do hope to empower you to learn how to make your own traditional medicines. One of the things I love about traditional medicine is it gives power back to the average person. These are plants that you can grow on your porch, in pots, things that you can forage, and of course things that you can grow in a larger medicinal garden. And there are tons of scientific research that back their uses. But again, I am not a medical professional of any kind. Before you use any of these herbs, it is definitely a good idea to talk to your doctor. Some of these herbs may have what's called contraindications, which means that it may interact with other medications if you're taking something, or potentially have side effects depending on your health profile. All right, with that in mind, let's get started. So what I have today is a giant metal bowl for mixing our herbs together. I also have a 1 cup measuring cup. And of course we have our 4 different herbs that we're going to add to this anti-inflammatory tea blend. So why would we want to make an anti-inflammatory tea blend? Inflammation is a very common chronic disease, and there's lots and lots of different things that can cause inflammation. So this could be a underlying health condition like an autoimmune disorder. It could be something like your exposure to pollution and microplastics, PFAS. It can also be caused by things like a bad diet. So if you're somebody who struggles with digestive issues, things like inflammatory bowel disease, arthritis, just general aches and pains in your muscles, those are all situations where inflammation of your tissues is causing discomfort and pain, and sometimes having other effects on your body as well. So having an herbal blend that can help reduce inflammation or even prevent it from happening is a really great tool to have in our arsenal. For me, somebody who struggles with autoimmune flare-ups, this is extremely important. If I am stressed or overworked, or even if I had a recent bout of illness, this can sometimes trigger inflammation in my body, and it affects all kinds of things: sore muscles, problems with digestion, headaches, inflamed lymph nodes. I'm excited to make this blend today. I've been meaning to do so for a while. When I have made this blend, I've just been making it from scratch every time. And so we're finally going to take these herbs from my garden last year and make a pre-mix blend, so that anytime I'm feeling aches and pains, or my husband's feeling aches and pains, we'll have something that we can get to that's easy to grab. So let's talk about the ratio for this blend. This is going to be 2 parts Althea officinalis, which is our marshmallow leaf, 2 parts calendula, which is our calendula. It's also known as marigold, but calendula is part of the scientific name and a better identifier for this plant. 1 part violet leaf. And finally, one of my absolute favorite herbs, 1 part Verbascum thapsus, also known as common mullein. This is one of my absolute favorite plants to grow in the garden, and you'll get to see some examples of it If you can get mullein seeds, I absolutely encourage you to grow this. Just one thing to keep in mind, the leaf and the roots are edible and medicinal, but you want to avoid eating the seeds. Those are mildly toxic. So these are all herbs that I harvested and dried from my garden last year. What I've done here is I've actually vacuum sealed a lot of these herbs to keep them fresh. So we're just gonna pop these lids open. There we go. See just how strong that vacuum seal was, which is a great sign. Here we are. And if you have the option of buying a mason jar vacuum sealer, I absolutely love these things. I never really thought I would need one of these, but there are times where I just don't have enough time to harvest everything in one year. And knowing that I can keep the herbs fresh longer by keeping the air out. If you know anything about harvesting and preserving herbs, oxidation is your worst enemy. And this is incredibly useful. And I'm just going to show you an example of how it works here. So you actually take your standard mason jar lid, and these do come with attachments for small mouth jars as well, but this is wide mouth. And all you do is you just stick it on top, make sure there's a nice tight seal, and you'll see there's a little button on the top here. And then you just click it. And that sound is sealing the jar. And it only ran for a couple of seconds and it's already quite well sealed. It usually runs for about 90 seconds to get a good strong seal. But if you're interested in buying a similar product, I do have an Amazon affiliate store. Feel free to check that out. It is in the link in the description below. So the thing about making your own tea mixes is you can use exact measurements or you can use what's called parts. And parts are just ratios of blends. So say you were making a tea blend and you wanted to be able to easily scale it up or scale it down depending on how much you want to make. Using parts is the way to go. And essentially what that just means is you're looking at it as a fraction of a whole. So for example, in this recipe, we're using 2 parts marshmallow leaf. And in this case, we're gonna call 2 parts 2 cups. 2 parts could be measured in ounces. It could be measured in pounds if you were working with, I can't imagine you'd have that much marshmallow leaf, but you get what I'm saying here. You could essentially make any recipe in any amount and still have the same ratio. So in this case, looking at my own recipe, I think I want to double the amount that I make. So we're going to use 4 parts marshmallow root, 4 parts calendula, 2 parts violet, and 2 parts mullein. Who doesn't think of the gooey white dessert when we think of marshmallow? Well, it's not just a coincidence, as the confectionery treat gets its name from the plant whose mucilaginous properties were mixed with sugar to make the original version of this dessert. But it's not just good for treats. The mucilaginous qualities of both marshmallow root, leaf, and flower can help to soothe inflamed tissues both internally and externally. Historically, all parts of the plant were used to treat gastric ulcers, making this the perfect plant for any anti-inflammatory tea. Calendula makes a lovely and hardy garden companion. Calendula is a popular skin healing agent when used externally, but it also has many constituents that make it useful for internal ailments as well. When harvesting calendula, don't just take advantage of the flowers, or you'll be missing out on all of the potent medicinal benefits of its sticky, resinous sap found in the leaves and stem, chock full of anti-inflammatory and antifungal benefits. Calendula flower, leaf, and stem can be dried or used fresh to make a tea that is useful for a detox and help to soothe sore and inflamed lymph nodes and stomach pain. Third is the mighty and marvelous mullein. Now usually I make a mullein tincture to get the most out of its anti-inflammatory benefits, and let me tell you, mullein works, even standing alone. Mullein has properties that help the body to produce mucus, keeping our inflamed sinuses, throats, and lungs in tip-top shape. This beauty is also a fun garden companion with soft fuzzy leaves that grow low the first year, and in the second year it shoots up to incredible heights, fun for children and adults. And finally, violet. This common North American wildflower, like marshmallow, has mucilaginous properties with cooling energetics that help soothe inflamed tissues, both external and internal. What's more, violet leaf contains a constituent closely related to aspirin and can provide mild pain relief. I find that violet leaf has a mildly sweet flavor compared to many herbs, which tend to be bitter, making this herb a great companion to add to pretty much any tea. Now all that's left is to mix this up into a finer texture, breaking apart those tough calendula stems and making something that will steep evenly. You can drink this tea daily to help with stomach pains, indigestion, aches from sore muscles and joints. I even find that it provides some benefits for headaches. If you're working with dried herbs, just be mindful about the fine dust that can be produced while you're mixing it together. It will get into your nose and make you sneeze if you're not careful. Okay, so we have our anti-inflammatory tea blend now, and all that's left to do is add it to our mason jar and make sure that we label it. So these chalkboard labels I found online. They're very cheap and you get a 100 count roll, and they're super useful and cute. You'll find them in my storefront on Amazon if you're interested in purchasing something similar. So that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you found the information helpful, please don't forget to show your support by hitting the like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.